to get used to it. But I want to give you kind of just like the guidelines and like dot points, the most important things for that opening. And I'll do that while showing you a replay of one of my recent games. And this is still a learning process for me as well, because it's a brand new patch, figuring out a new build. So, you know, there might be extra refinements down the track. But if there's one thing I know is that even if you get started with a slightly wonky build, which myself or a pro gamer makes early on, usually you can still get away with using that, you know, 90% of the time, 6 months or a year down the track, without too much trouble. So it should be fine.
Yeah, I will tell you in this one, I get distracted here because I'm learning these maps and everything. So my cyber core is very late.
Yeah.
Which is part of the problem here. I might have been able to hold this if I had 2 more stalkers out, but because my warp gate is late, I don't have enough units, so I'm gonna lose this no matter what. But I don't know. I got to get used to this.
No worries. I mean, this map is obviously very peculiar. You've got that gold base, which I would say is probably the base you should be going for every game.
Yeah.
Just because it's like in PvP anyway, because it's kind of easy to defend. It is your call, to be honest. Actually, yeah, I don't even know. It's such specialized strategy. Maybe just go for the front base. Either way, you're going to be doing a 1 base opening as standard on the map, and and that's going to help you out be really safe.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been, because I've only been playing StarCraft 2 maybe like 6-7 months consistently, I would say.
Yeah.
So I've always wanted to, and never wanted to just do 1 base builds, because 1 base builds, while they work, like I'm not trying to work and make my way up the ladder. Like I just want to get better at it. 1 base builds you can do at any time, but I want to work on macroing. So
Yeah.
Here,
we'll do that, but with some tech to kind of get you safety. So when I say 1 base, I mean it's just going to be a delayed expansion, basically. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not going to be like, just all in. We're going to get you to make 4 gateways, do 4 chrono boosts on your warp gate, and then kill them. By the way, that will work really well if they don't build early shield batteries, which most people aren't going to be doing for a few weeks because people are very slow to adapt. You know, I've been playing the test map for a month or more now, so I'm like, oh yeah, shield batteries, man. Like, yeah, I know when to put those down. You know, I know when to use my chrono boost. I'm even finally starting to use recall a little bit.
Yeah, I lost a game yesterday because I didn't use recall. So.
You just forget it exists, right?
Yeah, it took me a couple minutes after the game was over, and then I hit myself on the head pretty hard about that. But
that's actually what streaming is really helpful for, because viewers are always pointing out like, couldn't you have recalled there? And I'm like, yes, that would have been a great idea. I didn't think about that. So anyway, so here. He's pushing you. You've got 4 gateway units, but yeah, you don't really have anything to deal with an immortal. Oh, you do have a shield battery up, which is nice, but you actually didn't move those stalkers in range of the shield battery. And
because it would get a pylon proxy, so I went down to kill it, and then by that time he's in my base.
Yeah, and an immortal is more than a match for these units. So I mean, you could have defended this, but you would have needed to pull way back up into your main base and pull probes to buffer. And since you were up 10 probes, if you just pulled 10 probes and then fought all together, this is an example of a situation where you should have been able to hold this. And this is something where it's not like I'm going to super emphasize it. It's easy to make this mistake. But every time you're in this situation, always just look at that units tab in the replay, go, okay, I was up 10 workers. If I lost 10 workers, I still would have had 2 Nexi, been able to reprobe faster than him. Yeah, I don't have immortals building, so that kind of sucks. But, you know, it makes a big difference because immortals and stalkers, both bonus to armored damage, not that great at killing probes, but incredible at killing stalkers. So if you just kind of like, oh, pull this stalker sentry up the ramp, pull the other stalkers to the south, get back, okay, grab a whole bunch of probes, try to mineral walk them through the immortal if you can, move the stalkers and sentries, and you'd kind of have it. But in terms of the opening, basically the safest opening is a Phoenix one. So what else could have happened this game? You've scouted him very early, but yeah, you basically scouted through and then left the main base. Yeah.
Yeah, I never went back because I was going to proxy him. Like, my plan here was to get on 2 bases, hit him with a couple Stalkers Immortal up front, and then warp inside his boardwalk and hit him at around 6 minutes. That was my goal.
Which I think is not a bad idea for like later harassment and stuff. Like if you can proxy a pylon, this is actually really far away, this pylon. So even though it's going to be a surprise, it's going to take a long time for units to get up there. But if you say just warp in, you know, a pair of adepts, go and shade them into his main mineral line, like that's, you know, going to do massive damage. But what else could have wrecked you this game? So there could be an oracle in your base already at this point. And you don't have a shield battery in your main mineral line. So getting a shield battery right in the center of that main mineral line in time for that can be very helpful. The other thing which can help is just going one base Phoenix every game. So let's hop out of here. What we're going to do, before we look at the PvZ replay, just make me the party leader. And we're going to grab one of my recent PvP replays. So I'm going to see if I can find good little PvP to look at. I don't think I played too many PvPs yesterday, but I think the day before I had a ton. And that should be really awesome. Just checking. Hey guys in chat, let me know if there's any issues with the audio or anything like that. Should be fine though. I've got a game I lost. I'd rather show you a game I won, but I'll use that one if I have to.
I'm the only one losing.
We just show you the loss. That's fine. Oh, not that one. Way to go.
I was never great at PvP anyway. I was starting to get better over the past like month or so before the balance. But it was always my weakest one, just because their units are just. I mean, you know, Protoss units are so strong, so it's just a different game that I'm playing against the other races. They just feel so different. So
this is really funny. Yeah, I feel like there's 80% of players probably do better against the other races. And not as well in their mirror. About 20% of players do really well in the mirror and don't get the other ones just as well. Because it is different. But if you understand your own race, which we should always be striving to do, then you can absolutely understand what you should be doing kind of better and what your opponent's done. And starting to read into what they're doing, the more we kind of analyze and understand, and we look for scouting tells and that sort of thing. Now, because Chrono Boost is so powerful, Oracle, Proxy Oracle can hit your base really, really early. It's a nightmare to be ready for. So, because of that, we're going to be opening up with a one base Phoenix. Phoenix are also amazing against any sort of Immortal push like that we just saw, because you just pick up the Immortal and go, yep, you're picked up. Easy. You're disabled. Yep. You can build Void Rays if they're really committing to a one base all-in as well. So you just disable like the Immortal and maybe some Stalkers, and your Void Ray can chew through the other Stalkers really, really well. So first things first, a nice high-level thing here is going for the wall off. You'll notice I'm going to wall at the ramp. And this is something which you did in that last game. Are you doing that every game? Actually, did you do it last game? Your opponent did it. I don't think you did.
Yeah, he did. I did not, no.
So this
I've never walled PvP.
The reason this is so big is because before, if Adepts shaded into your mineral line, right, they'd go and they'd start one-hitting probes, but you'd have 3 pylons around your mineral line. You go overcharge, lasers, and you just kill the Adepts. We don't have overcharge anymore, and whilst a shield battery is gonna work for you 99% of the time, I'd like to prepare you for your future development as a StarCraft player. So a shield battery won't work against a player with good enough micro, because if they sync up the Adept shots, they one-hit a probe. So as long as they micro it correctly, so the Adepts attack at the exact same time, your shield battery doesn't even get a chance to heal them, and it's just as effective. And if you've got a Stalker or 2, or your own Adepts chasing them, it's just going to take forever to clean them up. You're going to lose 5 or 6 probes, which is massive, massive damage early on, right? Sometimes even more than that. So having the wall off is good because you can block the shade. So this is something where I think opening Stalkers is a nice kind of safe way to manage things. I often like to open up Adepts myself to put this hurt on my opponent and punish them for not walling off. And you'd be amazed how much damage you can get with that. So this is, I guess I'm just going to leave this locked on my camera and start writing some notes on the build. And this is still something I'm kind of formulating the details of. In this case, I'm gonna do the mega greedy dumbass style of the build, as I call it, where I both haven't probe scouted and I'm going to go for an obscenely fast Nexus without even building a 3rd and 4th gateway unit. For you, you're always going to build 4 gateway units and start chrono boosting Phoenix, and your first Phoenix is going to go straight to the enemy side of the map to see what's going on. You can see on the production tab, I'm going to die to 1 base DT this game. And let's go back and look at my opponent's build order real quick. He's gone what looks like a normal build order. Gate core, looks pretty normal stuff. He's walled off as well. Then he just goes immediate Twilight Council, immediate Dark Shrine, and he kind of just relies on these Adepts keeping me back. Yeah.
That's actually a good build.
Yep.
That can be dirty, hard to deal with if you don't have to.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going Stargate. No, I mean you could have the Oracle out, but
I could, but you're always opening Phoenix at the moment because Phoenix shut down your opponent's oracles. So we're kind of doing the safe version. And if you get about 4 or 5 Phoenix out and your opponent's not going air units, it's just this amazing harassment unit, which keeps killing probes over and over again, right? So let's write a few notes here, because like I said, I want to give you a guideline for PvP. So overview of safe PvP. So what are you going to do? You're going to do your normal opening. And then you're going to go 2 Stalkers. Now, I'm going to write a note here. You can go 2 Adepts. And probably do massive damage in 90% of your PvPs. So, I'm going to recommend go 2 Adepts every game for like at least the first few games, just to get a feel for it. Enjoy massacring your compatriots on ladder. And then, you know, especially on if you start struggling with it, or you want to, you know, okay, let's just do Stalkers instead, you can go back to that, which is obviously the more defensive option.
Make it worthwhile.
So 2 Stalkers, you're gonna go immediates, and you're gonna, oh yeah, usually you chrono boost as well. Chrono boost your, yeah, chrono boost 2 Stalkers or 2 Adepts, so you can get them out as fast as possible. Immediate Stargate. So you basically just go Stargate, and you have enough money, right? So Stargate, and then you're gonna chrono Phoenix. So your first Phoenix goes across the map to scout enemy base. Now before this, normal opening includes a scout. Scout with probe after second gateway goes down, we'll say. I think that's a good timing to do it. And what are you checking in their base? You want to check their pylon count and gateway count. So let's imagine I scouted my opponent nice and early on. Since neither of us did a proxy build, click return to game, don't exit, don't exit, don't exit. Click, yep, so when that probe comes in, so normally, let's say you do it either after the second gateway goes down or the cybercore. So I'd be going across now, I'd be going doop-de-doop-de-doop-de-doop. Okay, what do we see here? Now we see, sorry, I went a little bit too far forward. Here we go. So you'll see, first thing, the gateways have shiny lights in them. If you zoom in on those gateways at his base, you can see that the shiny lights show that there's units building. Is that something you've ever paid attention to before?
Yep.
Good.
Always check everything, make sure, see what's going on.
If your gateway units are, say, 30% or halfway done, something like that, you see no lights on his gateways, what would he be doing if he's not building any gateway units? Yeah.
If I see no lights and I have gateway units coming out this early in the game?
Yeah, yours are already like halfway done or more. His haven't even started. There's nothing building on those gateways.
Oh, then it's tech. It's either going to be a Stargate or Robo, could be proxied, but it's definitely tech, would be my guess.
It probably would be, but more importantly, it would actually be a Nexus, because you're going to have a ton of minerals sitting around, whether or not you go for fast tech. So that's actually going to be the biggest thing there, is that he's saving 200 minerals, or 250 if it was Stalkers, if you think about it, right? 200 if it was Adepts, 250. So sometimes you will see people go for a very fast Nexus, like super greedy. Sometimes you can just all in that and kill them. You can say, oh, let's just go all in. Start building Void Rays instead of Phoenix or something, or go Oracles.
Oh, I definitely. I mean, I would absolutely go, because you can't stop if you're not keeping up in production as a Protoss PvP. You can't defend, especially without overcharge.
Exactly. And if you're not comfortable with all-inning, the other very simple solution is go, oh, okay. Your probe just goes to their natural and puts a pylon down. And you're like, yeah, you haven't even started building gateway units. Have fun clearing that out, buddy. And yeah, that's just an absolute block to their build. There was like a meta a few months ago where a lot of top Korean Protoss players were doing this. So when a unit would come into the base, the probe, whenever it could see the gateways, they would start building 2 zealots on their gateways just to make it so that the lights would shine up. Whenever the probe left the base or moved away from the gateways, they just cancel the zealots and put the Nexus down. So they made it look like they were doing the normal thing. They're actually doing the Nexus. Not something you need to do or anything, but it's always cool to look at these little details that the absolute best players are doing and think about that. So the other big thing is pylons. So back to this point, normally you're in here right around the time these gateway units are starting up. This is when you get to their base. You're looking around. Now, a lot of the time they're not going to drop tech straight away. That's fine. But they always have 2 pylons at this point. And then once you start 2 gateway units, you need to start a 3rd pylon to not get supply blocked, right? So this is what you look for. Now, if someone's just got 1 gateway in their base, there's only 1 pylon, you look everywhere, that's it. It's just a gateway, a core, and a pylon. You're like, well, this guy's got a 2nd pylon proxying a Stargate or a Robo or a Dark Shrine out of the map. You know, immediately you know that's what's happening. You can send a probe to try and spot it, that sort of thing. So likewise, you know, you can even hang around and check for the 3rd pylon. In this case, we see he drops it behind his main mineral line. He actually drops it quite late, which is why he gets supply blocked on his gateways here, you can see. And that happens. So in terms of the build order, what should it look like here? So in the opening stage, by the way, with your chrono boost, you should always be dropping your chrono boost, little tip, after your first pylon finishes. It could be maybe drop the gateway and the gas, then chrono boost is something I like to do a lot of the time, because I want to get that gas started pretty quickly. And then
that's how I'm doing it now. Is, after gate gas, once I've done that and I have free minerals that I'm going to spend on probes anyway, that's when I chrono it out and put 3 in queue.
Awesome, awesome. When do you use your next chrono boost?
I've been thinking about. I honestly don't know yet. I've been thinking about doing it on probes again, but I don't have anywhere to mine from them, so I don't know. So I've either been chronoing out the gateway units, or if I'm going Stargate, I'll chrono out the Oracle or Robo. I'm going Robo PvP actually. So I chrono out the first Immortal.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think there's a good way of thinking about it. So if you are doing an expand build, it's totally fine to just chrono the probes, even if the natural nexus isn't done just yet. As long as it's like, you know, it's on the way. You're like, cool. These guys will have somewhere to mine from soon. So PvZ, I'm always doing a nice fast expand. I'll do that. Here in PvP though, just that 1 chrono boost is all I use on the workers, right? And then I use the double chrono on the gateway units always to make sure they're out nice and early. If it's Adepts, they can get across the map really fast. If it's Stalkers, you can intercept their Adepts. My Stalker micro in this game is appalling. This was 2 days ago when the servers had a screw up and it put me on US East every game, so I was playing with 230 ping every game. Combine that with microing the new Stalker, which attacks a lot slower, and there was a lot of me almost letting the Stalker attack and then cancelling it at the last second by giving it a move command and being like, oh, you didn't shoot? Are you serious? But normally you can do a much better job than this of blocking, and this is what we talked about, that shade being blocked by the pylon in my wall in. So if you're not confident with that, you'll see me do this sometimes. I'm like, I'm not sure if he's going Adepts. This is why I always send my Stalkers out usually in like 2 directions to try to spot the Adepts far away. And I just have a probe sitting there, and if I'm not sure or I'm paranoid at all, I'm not confident, I'll just drop the pylon just like ahead of time a little bit, and then I'll go back and make sure I cancel it before it finishes, just to make sure I'm not surprised. But yeah. Okay, so it just chrono boost double gateway, get the Stargate, get out 2 more gateway units, chrono boost Phoenix, and drop your Nexus whenever you have the money, all while keeping up pretty consistent probe production. That's your formula. From there, you can do whatever the hell you want. Normally, I'm going Immortal Charged Archon after this. If it gets to that point, if they're going air, you just keep focusing on Phoenix. Eventually, you get a 2nd Stargate, and you just mass Phoenix, and whoever has more Phoenix wins. And it's like really, you know, it just spirals one way really hard once the fight starts. Whoever kills the first Phoenix or gets like a little lead here or there just smashes it. So GG's. That's going to be a new build order. Try it out. I think it's the most solid opening right now for PvP, and I think it should give you a lot more confidence against everything. So it's the combination of the early probe scout, but then also your Phoenix immediately goes to scout their base. Only thing you've got to worry about is if they've got Phoenix, you don't want to accidentally run into 2 Phoenix. So you, as it enters their base, you've really got to watch your Phoenix and be ready to turn around and run away if they happen to be going Phoenix as well.
Okay, I like that. I'll definitely do that. That's much safer than what I've been doing, so.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to make you the party leader.
Okay.
And you can show me that PvZ replay.
Oh, God. This is going to be embarrassing.
No, it's fine, it's fine. So what we can talk about in this game a little bit more is a little bit more to do with chrono boost optimization, which helps us generally think about that concept and understand it, as well as shield batteries. So host me up. We can think about when to place shield batteries. Obviously, it's a little bit different for every situation, every matchup. The most important thing is you want to be able to just drop them down whenever you're worried about something, right? It's like, oh, he's coming with a scary push. Throw down some shield batteries. And there's a few general rules for shield batteries. Do I put one? Always put one in your main mineral line, right? Always put one in at your natural wall off or your natural mineral line. Always put 1 or 2, usually 2 at your third base as well. And, excuse me, suddenly if Zerglings get in, all you need to do is move probes if there's a shield battery in range, and your mineral line can deal with like 8 to 10 Zerglings really easily without you even warping in units anymore, which is really, really nice. Real Rain. Oh,
yeah.
You almost made Crunchy Poop stay there. You would be like, what?
Yeah, I know. I figured I shouldn't do that because I'm not good enough to just even.
It's like,
can't
wow,
be in the same.
Wow, Rain, you got a lot worse at StarCraft since you became a commentator and started playing a lot of Brood War.
Right.
You're suddenly not the best Protoss player in the world right now. Like this is a little bit odd.
I did work on the walls, so I went to all new maps, so I know pylon placement for the walls in each map. So I did do that for PvZ. In this one, I don't know. I got to get used to the balance. I'm gonna keep saying it, but I'm lost in how I want to do things, where I want to go. Like I don't know. I'm so far ahead in this game, and I take awful fights, like just because I'm scared of the middle of the map because I don't know how those walking blockers work, or what, the massive unit blocker. I don't know how that works yet.
The pink grid of weirdness. Yeah.
Yeah. What the hell was that? So. Oh my God, man!
Did you see the clip of there was, I can't remember who it was, but someone had a Stalker Colossus army and the Zerg had Ultralists, and the Stalker Colossus just backed up into that grid and the Ultras were just, they can't get in there. So they were just derping around the outside and the Stalker Colossus just killed this massive Ultralisk army.
No, I did not see that. Wow. I believe it though. That shit is weird. Or excuse me, that thing is weird in there. I don't.
That's alright. You're allowed to swear. It's fine.
All right.
Yeah, so one thing to take note of it is melee units suck in it. So you're attacking into a full ranged army with like charge lots, it's really bad. Likewise, Zerglings suck at engaging in it. Baneling is not that great at engaging in it because they all just end up having to kind of split up and stuff. So it kind of force fields your units. So one thing, for instance, is I've just been doing a lot of Adept openings. I just find it very natural. It's one of the first openings I got good at in Legacy of the Void as PvZ. And it just seems to suit because you build a lot of Adepts, which keeps you very safe, which is nice when you don't have a Mothership core. But there's a ton of different openings. Oracle is the other really straightforward, safe opening as well. But something I noticed is you can just stand your Adepts in that grid. Once you get like 7 or 8 Adepts, and Zerglings cannot fight it. They will get massacred. Like, as if they didn't do badly enough against Glaive Adepts before, they will get destroyed if they try to engage in there. So something I like to do sometimes is actually try to, this is me just being a douchebag, trying to block this hatch over here. And if I can entice them to take this hatch at the front as their third, I'm really happy. Now, you're facing a guy, and this is something you're probably going to see more often, actually, who's taken this back hatch. It's kind of trash for Zerg because it's only got 4 mineral patches. But, you know.
I didn't even, I didn't even think about that. This whole time, I'm like, where's the third base? Because I didn't even remember there's one back there for the first few minutes of this game. So I'm playing a different game because I think he's only going 2 base.
I feel that. I like your build order though. You're going double Oracle into Glaive Adepts. Like, this is pretty good play. You're getting a third at a pretty good time. Like, this looks pretty good for now. And I guess this is something we noticed last week as well. Is I kind of like your early game. and certain things you're doing in the early stages, I feel like you have mapped out pretty well, right? The issue was like you're not having like a kind of timed out mid game, I guess, in the past, like, you know, when to add your gateways and everything, which is what was holding you back.
Yeah, and I definitely worked on that. I felt a lot better, like just this timing here, right? What I do here, by the way, Pig, I gotta say, one of the best moves I've ever done, and the fact that this is on stream and might be public knowledge, I'm very proud of.
Hells yeah! All right, I'm looking forward to it, man.
I've never really executed something like this before, but I wanted to do a pressure, so I had the Adepts. Glaives was about to finish. I went a little early, so I wanted to pressure, and I do a fantastic job here. I get so ahead, and I still don't know there's not a third base. So I know he's transferring, so I'm able to kill all these drones with oracles. Like, I actually thought about it too. Like, I planned on doing this. I couldn't believe it. And then all these units come out of nowhere. Like, where were these a minute ago? Which means he just, you know, had a bunch of money banked up and went mass roach.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, okay, roaches. So let me get some stalkers, immortals out, and pump out, get up to Templar tech, and just kill. That's my plan.
Okay, so you want to go Immortal Storm, Blink Stalker, or you're gonna go Charge? Okay, you are adding Charge. All right, cool.
Yeah, charge.
So this was kind of just adding some Stalkers in for the immediate roach threat, right?
Right, because I thought he'd be coming with all those roaches. Like, what else are you gonna be doing with that?
Yep, which makes sense. That's just the panic because there's Adepts in your base roach button, it turns out. But yeah. Your assessment was correct. That was a lot of roaches and it was scary. Excuse me. So, of course, you were floating a bit of money during that. So, you know, you could have potentially been, you know, building a few more immortals or something like that, or starting your forges before the Adepts went in. And then, you know, because, you know, if you remember to start the upgrade, say just before your Adepts go in or just as you go in, you kind of know there's something like giving you a long-term kind of follow-up behind it. But there's always different priorities for this stuff. It's not like you made a mistake by committing as much as you did. One of the big mistakes people have, and because we do prioritize macro a lot, especially me, right? And, you know, this is the core, is you being able to spend your money, have a good army. That's the core of winning at StarCraft. But a lot of people do take that too far. So I really want to just be kind of cognizant of the fact that I'm not telling you like, oh, you need to just... you know, you need to just macro. I think it's good for you to overly focus on micro at points in the game, especially because that helps you improve. And the more you focus on your micro, the more you can do it with your eyes closed, basically. The more you can just like, go, yeah, I know how to do this. So here, you're looking to do a big push. Now,
I should win this fight, right?
You should, but you're really taking your time with it. So you're not very decisive. And I mean, okay, you're waiting for the Warp Prism, I guess. You had a Zealot counterattack on the bottom side. I do like the 1-2 punch. It didn't really work out here. You've forgotten your Warp Prism, and you've given him a lot of time to catch up in units. I don't feel like your main army has really grown in strength this whole time, which is a problem for sure. And I feel like you're not focusing on your army. Like, you're making observer speed right now, rather than focusing on, you know, if those force fields went down earlier on this frontal fight, like, if you had a Warp Prism here making Archons or Zealots or anything like that, you know, this would be brutal. As it is, you're still going to win this engagement.
Yeah, and I keep going, though. Like, I should have pulled back here.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, you got Zealots in his fourth, so it's kind of okay for you to lose your entire army at this point.
And then this was just dumb.
Yeah, you should never make Archons during a fight. That's fine. So, this game is still yours. Yep. So, you're making a ton of Stalkers here. So, one thing I've noticed this game is you ended up with Adepts, Zealots, and Stalkers, right?
Yeah.
You didn't have, like, a clear, like, this stage, I'm building Adepts, and then bam, it's onto the other units. So, I feel like Stalkers are a really good versatile unit. If you want, just go Stalkers as like the core and just focus on this sort of ranged army. And you know, whether it's Storm or Colossi, backing up the Immortal Stalker, doesn't really matter. But you know, as long as you do that, you should be in a good spot. So
you think that could work against Zerg, Colossi, Immortal Blink Stalker?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just a couple of Immortals to start out, but yeah, Colossi is really good. You don't want to go too many Immortals, like, and then go really late Colossi, because Colossi are more of a mid-game unit, so you've just got to be cognizant or aware of the fact that Colossi kind of suck once Broodlords and Ultras get out. Like, they're okay at clearing Broodlings and stuff, but like they're really just not that good at dealing with those super high-tier armies. So going Colossi really late, like right now, is a weird time to be going Colossi to some extent. It's like a little bit odd.
Yeah.
Also, where are your High Templar? There they are. Okay, cool.
See, because that's what I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, I should have won the game on that last push. So
yeah,
I'm lost where to go completely.
So
don't know what I'm doing.
First things first, you need to be confident in your mind about what went wrong. So what could you have done better in that last push, like to make that work?
I don't know. I felt like I took a bad engage. I could have focused on the fight more. I shouldn't have pushed in after the first round. I should have had the Warp Prism behind and kept warping in another round of units and then go, instead of just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And I also was in my head thinking maybe I should have taken the fight in the open space in the big area, because he has Roach Hydra. I'm not going to get surrounded by Lings. So if I can get a bigger concave in the middle of the map, I could have won that. But I was scared of the middle of the map, because the middle of the map I'd never seen before. So...
And the thing is, it's not. I think wide open is actually, it is better for him than you, for sure. Just because, you know, he's still got Zerg units, lots of them. He wants to get close to you. You've got the superior range, right? Roaches only have 4 range, and Immortals have 6. You got force fields, but these middle areas choke up the battles quite a lot. Like this is the key moment. So check this out. Look at your army. 98 army supply, sick army. He's got way less than you. He's got less supply. Same army supply, but it's crap. 0-0 versus 1-1 as well. His upgrades aren't quite finished. If you fought here, this would have been amazing, right? And the thing is, your observer did see his army, and you should have been able to look at that and say, that's nothing. You want to fight right now.
I thought about that too. I wasn't looking here at this moment. So I heard units under attack. I saw where it was, went double-clicked 1, because that's where I had the control group on. And I just pulled back because I wasn't looking. I didn't think I was ready.
And this is something where that's fine, because what were you doing? You were pushing out, right, with a strong push. You're saying, I'm gonna kill you. You had a Warp Prism on the way. Your Warp Prism was a little bit late. So first things first, always remember to plan ahead. You should have been thinking about this attack earlier, and you told me you were. You were saying, I'm gonna build some Immortals, bunch of, you know, I'm gonna get Storm. I'm gonna go kill him. And that's a good plan. That makes perfect sense. But you forgot about the Warp Prism for quite a while. So this is something where you say, next time, I got to build that Warp Prism ahead of time. You know, like even if I build it and then I end up waiting for another Immortal afterwards, like the Warp Prism is such an important part of that. Okay, first things first. Okay, that Warp Prism needs to be there. So I'm going to write this down. Always plan ahead and get that Prism out, ready for the push. Now, in this case, you were doing something which was really good, like I said, where you were saying, well, I'm pushing out, I'm going to add a 4th behind this. I'm going to add upgrades, I'm going to add a Templar Archives. You were doing things, and this is always what you want to do, right? Because you know you're going to go fight, you're going to spend a lot of time microing. You want to try and fix your economy up first, right? You want to make sure like your tech and everything's fine at home, because you're going to kind of be ignoring your macro and neglecting it for a while. So you're like, I want to put extra attention into this right now when I'm just moving across the map. When I get across the map, all the focus is on the army. So you got a little bit distracted there because, you know, he pushed out and you're already kind of waiting for your Warp Prism. If you just pushed decisively, then you would have been able to kill him. Now, what about beyond that? Okay, you're pushing across the map. What's the next thing? When you push, focus everything on that push. So what worries me here is you're going Templar Archives and Storm, you're going the Colossi Bay, you're adding the 4th, and then you go back for like things like Robotics Support Bay and all this sort of stuff. You should be like super decisive right now, like get in here and let's go, let's do this, you know. If you've wasted so much time waiting for a Warp Prism, and then what do? You warp in a bunch of Stalkers because you're worried about him pushing your 3rd base. But he was actually so far back at home, and your army was already on creep. So you're playing a little bit afraid here. You're like, oh, what if he pushes me? It's like, what if he does? You're gonna kill him way faster than he kills you, man. You're deep in his territory. So I mean, I like the Zealot counterattack. Though you did path it a little bit dangerously. I guess it should have come down around the very left-hand corner of the map to get down here. Then it wouldn't have walked over creep. But yeah, warping in these stalkers, unnecessary. You forget about the warp prism. So you're not being clear and confident in the fact that, dude, your army is better than his. Even if you were to attack your third and overwhelm it, who cares? You'd just be chrono boosting immortals at home. You'd be able to defend either your natural or your main with like warp ins and stuff, or at least shred out a lot of his army. And your main army would be unstoppable if he doesn't bring everything together. So then you move here and you're just not even watching your army. So this is something you always want to look for. In a game like this where you say, I could have won the game, don't just go, I could have won the game with this push. Go back a minute or two before that point. Say, could I have won the game here as well? What happened in in the minutes leading up to this? So what I like to do is I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back about 30 seconds, and we're watching from your camera on actual game speed. Okay, so you're moving forward. You've forgotten about the warp prism. It's not hotkeyed or anything. Oh no, it is hotkeyed. It is hotkeyed, but you've forgotten about it. You're moving, you're moving. Okay. Zealots got intercepted. Okay. Let's panic, build some stalkers at my third. Okay, we realize that was a bad decision in hindsight. And then you go back and you grab an immortal, you send it down there. You're still worried about the counterattack. And then you decide to go to your main base and start random upgrades.
It's not random, okay? Observer speed.
It's very important. Very important.
Life or death. Observer speed.
Very important, of course.
I'm telling you, it's gonna be in the pro meta after they watch this shit.
So what we want to look at this and we want to say, okay, you need to be so much more decisive and confident here. And this is like this kind of weird thing to think about, right? Decisive and confident. What? That's it. You're pushing him. You need to be focused on this push. This is your moment. This is what you need to put your pressure into. And this is it. Up until when you're attacking your opponent, you're kind of doing a big frontal push, your attention should be split between many tasks in StarCraft. And you've hit Diamond League, man. You're at the level of a competent player at StarCraft. You are very, very bloody competent. But now you need to get smart. You need to get smart as well. So what you're doing here is you're prioritizing what you would prioritize at any other given point in the game, where it's like, I'm going to defend, I'm going to macro, I'm going to do this. But right now, everything should be, this army is my main push. This either kills him. If I lose this army, it's way more important than me floating a couple thousand resources at home. You're maxed out. You need to make this army as valuable as possible. If you drop those force fields in that choke point a little bit lower, oh my lord. If you split that army in half a little bit better, that would have been so sick. Even as it is, you still absolutely wreck him. Like I said earlier, if your warp prism was down here, you're warping zealots into the fight. Like, pushing forward here is the right call, especially if you had reinforcements. Like, there's nothing wrong with this call. It's just the fact that you weren't quite as decisive as you could have been. As it was, this is still fine. You shred his fourth base. He's got a terrible economy. You're killing tons of workers. I mean, even here, I would have just kept A moving if I were you. You kind of panic and start trying to run away. I would have just stayed A moving and just killed all the drones at least, you know? Like, it's not bad, micro. You pull back, let the zealots into the fight. That's cool. But look at your supply. Like, you're in a great position. You just weren't confident here. And that brings us to the other thing, which is, well, you're not confident in this push, and part of it is probably because you don't have a game plan in this stage of the game. We talked about refining gateways, all that stuff, and you've done a much better job this time of adding a ton of gateways and tech. But let's be a little bit simpler with your game plan. Right now, you're trying to do a bit of everything. I was coaching yesterday. It was Zerg vs Terran. I was coaching a Terran mech player, and his friend who he was playing against, a Zerg player. This was like Platinum 2 or Platinum 3, so a little bit lower than your level, but basically the Zerg got to late game and had no idea what to do. He was building Infestors, Vipers, a couple Broodlords, a couple Roaches, a couple Hydras, a couple Mutalisks. Like, he just built one of everything. You always want to have a simple composition, and this is a general rule for all races, but especially Protoss. Base it around one, maybe two forms of special unit. In this case, you've got Storm. Storm is going to wreck everything this guy has, right? He doesn't have much economy. He can't just pop out 20 Ultralisks right now. If we look at obviously we can see everything. We know he's at 33 drones, but in game, you should have had the game sense that he's down to like maybe 50 workers at most, 50, 60. He's definitely not on like a 70 or 80 drone economy after you kill his fourth base, right? You killed all the drones there, so as well as a bunch on his third. So you should know he's probably below 50 workers at this point. Which tells you what's he going to be able to build? More Roach Hydra. Storm, Immortal, all you really need against that, that's fine. Maybe you decide, I like to add Colossi in as well. Just adds a bit of oomph to my army. That's it. Let's just keep going, you know, that composition. But I feel like you were constantly kind of going, do I build Zealots? Yeah, okay, build Zealots. Now let's build Stalkers. Now let's build Zealots. Now let's make some Adepts. and you were a little bit kind of torn between all of these different things you wanted to focus on. So if you instead just said, you know what, let's just make sure I chrono boost out these immortals, keep going with Storm, Immortal, Archon, Zealot, that's totally fine. Just stick with that composition. Or add the Colossi, stick with that composition. But you just got to be really confident with this, and just keep it simple. Don't be like, oh, do I need to add Tempest to this? Or do I need to add, you know, anything else? Just be really confident with that. And I think the biggest decision we need to make is, what gateway unit do you want? Do you want to go a blink-focused army? If we do that, you don't really need any other ground units. You can make charge and use Zealot for counterattacks, but you don't really want Zealots in your main army, because you're going to be using a very ranged focused army, right? So you want to be using force fields and like zoning them out, using your Immortals, your Colossi, your Stalkers at range. If you use Zealots, you usually want a bit more of a just like jump on their army. You know, you're kind of fighting hand to hand. Which one do you prefer?
Well, I've been using charge forever, so that's easier for me because it's just simple, easier to control. I mean, it's just A moving really.
Cool.
So I'm gonna do the Stalker then, because that'll be more.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
gonna work on that.
Yeah, you want to change it up. Okay, cool. We can work on that. I was gonna say, like, okay, if you want to do Zealots, that's fine. Like, if you build a round of Stalkers for defense like you did this game, that's okay. Just don't build any more. You just have a few Stalkers. Don't make blink. Don't focus on them. You just go, oh, I built these. I didn't really need them. Back to Zealots. But in this case, cool. So we're actually always gonna go blink. Always go blink after the opening, and charge just for harassment.
Mineral field depleted.
Now I went Glaives here. Glaives was a on-the-spot decision because I didn't see anything with that Oracle.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't know what he was doing. I didn't know. Obviously, I forgot about the back base for the third. So I went Glaives just for pressure. But that's not really ever a long-term plan as Glaives, I feel. So,
Absolutely not, but it's a good pressure opening, so it's totally fine to get the upgrade, do a round of pressure like you did, and then not use it again. That's actually legitimate.
Yeah, it's worth the investment.
Absolutely. I know it seems a little bit bizarre. If they then go super aggressive on a counterattack, whether it be a Roach, Zergling, anything like that, you can just make Adepts. Likewise, if you want to do a really fast push with like just a couple of Mortals or Warp Prism, maybe a few Archons, you can keep making Adepts, right? But if you're going to a macro game, yeah, you just kind of swap. You're like, okay, it's time to swap over to Blink and Stalkers and Sentries now. And that's totally fine. I do that all the time. This is actually my plan today. So later on in the stream, I'm going to be going straight into Sentries and Blink and Stalkers off my Adept opening, and then going Colossi. A new thing as well is I've decided personally, my Chrono Boost stacks up in the mid game. I get 3-base saturation really early, so I don't need to Chrono Boost probes. Yeah, I can Chrono Boost upgrades a bit, and that's something I got to get better at focusing on. Sure, okay, cool. But I've made the decision to always go single forge, never go double forge, and always go single robo now. Whereas usually I always go double robo because I love my Immortals.
Yeah.
And I've realized, like, wait a second, if I just pump Chrono Boost into my robo, it basically does the job of what 2 robos used to do. So a new kind of macro focus for me getting used to the patch is Chrono Boost the shit out of that 1 forge, Chrono Boost the shit out of that 1 robo once I hit the mid game. And if I do that, whether it be with Immortals or Colossi, I know I'm going to have like sick robo production. That's going to work out really well. So anyway, you start pushing in here. Talk me through this engagement here. What can you do better? What's going right? What's going wrong? Just give me your thoughts. Kind of commentate it. Think of it as commentating it.
Okay. Well, at this point, I'm thinking, all right, I want to fight him in a choke because I have Storm, and that would be able to wreck what he has. That's really my thought process here: is use Storm to zone him out, push forward, and just keep killing him and keeping him back with Storm.
Mm-hmm. And I like that you're kind of quite used to using the High Templar on a different hotkey. 2 High Templar did move a bit far forward there.
Yeah,
so,
I don't know why. That made no sense to me.
Yeah, that was so what happened there?
I misclicked it or something.
Yeah. So you were going 1-3, 1-3, 1-3. I think. Let me see where it happened.
Yeah, 3's a...
Yeah. Yeah. So you accidentally right-clicked them all forward somewhere there. You must have right-clicked right where those 2 High Templar at the front are standing when you selected them. Just a misclick. That's fine. It happens. Up to that point, you were doing a good job with the High Templar, almost on the point of being too safe. Like there was this moment early on where they were caught a little bit far behind your army, right? When the fighting started.
Yeah.
You know, and like you A-move your army here, but you don't pull the High Templars forward. So the really cool thing, and just you know, you're already kind of doing it, but just to kind of rub that point home, is I always think of my main army as just A-move. Once I get High Templar out, I'm like, all I worry about with that main army is making sure it's not in like a terrible position where you're going into a huge concave with Zerg and you're in a shitty ball, right? Where all your units are stuck behind each other. Because I figure just landing good storms is gonna like mess the Zerg up so badly. So here you're kind of trying to do this back and forth micro. I feel like you're a little bit too paranoid about your main army, and this is where your High Templar get exposed. This is a great position for you. Check it out. He's like kind of choked up between his buildings right now. Your units are tough. So you think about it, Immortals and Stalkers, this is already a composition that does quite well versus Roach Hydra, just head to head, especially because you have 3 upgrades. You should be really confident. You add Storm to the mix, and you should be impetuous. You should be overly confident right now, to the point where you say, these guys just A-move, and it's all about landing the Storms. I land the Storms, and I will wreck this engagement. And this is kind of the funny thing, you know, I think a big part of me sharing how I play the game, both with, you know, yourself, other people I coach, and just on the stream generally, a lot of it is explaining when I'm actually not doing anything fancy because it's not important to. And this is one of those moments where I think like you were kind of really still a little bit kind of paranoid about how that fight was going to go. And because of it, when you pulled back your force a few times, it actually didn't go too well for you. And then you threw away your High Templar. And that's the only reason he broke through here. If you still had another Storm or two here, if your High Templar was sitting just behind your Immortal, Storm, like his army gets shredded here, man. As it is, once again, your macro's on point, so you should actually still be fine from there. Shield Battery Arc on defense! Always.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
that was the plan.
Chrono boosting Immortals non-stop is like so good against these Roach Hydra armies, you know. But unfortunately, yeah, it looks like he's where are those warp gates? There we go. Oh yeah, we've got Colossi and Immortals coming down. I mean, I think with the shield batteries, you should be able to hang on here.
I lose the base. This is where I lose the game.
Oh, your Zealots are warping in just a second too late. Just a little bit of panic from you, I think, in dealing with this. If those Zealots engaged like slightly earlier, you would have minced it up. Like Zealots are so good versus this stuff. Yeah. So those big power units are your value. So this is a situation. I've lost many games in this situation. Like I said, you should have it, and I'm like, yeah, you've got the game in the bag. It's fine. Like you should still win from here. I've lost many games where I said the exact same thing in almost identical circumstances, and it's all about babysitting your power units, right? Because you need to get enough of these power units together with the right support. So for you, it's just, oh, your Robos and Immortals weren't rallied down. If they were down here with these Archons, you literally just crush this straight up. If you had one or two High Templar here with Storm, you just crush this straight up. Like this is kind of just what would happen here. But as it is, like the Archons and the Zealots, like he micros really well, so the Zealots kind of fight on their own. Archons on their own, just they're more meat shields, I guess, than damage dealers. Like if your opponent runs forward and clumps up or has lots of Ling Bane, then they're actually good damage dealers. But against just Roach Hydra, they're not bad, but they're more there to soak up damage than anything else. So yeah, this is something where, you know, you've still got a lot of money in the bank. If you just warped in another round of units, that fight seesaws the other direction really, really hard. And
and then these infested Terrans and that was it.
Yeah. So what you could have potentially done here as well was give up their base. That's something you should never be afraid to do. You can look at this and say, you know what, when he first pushed in here, if you just gave up this base, pulled back, waited for another 2 Colossi, warp in 4 High Templar here at your 3rd, wait for energy for Storm, he's not going to beat that army. No way. Not with 2-2 Roach Hydra. So, confidence in your engagements, keeping your High Templar just behind the main army, and remember, don't do anything fancy with your main army. Just A-move it most of the time. Only if it's in a really bad position do you need to adjust it, and just focus on keeping those High Templar just behind the front line and dropping Storms at the right time. If you did that, you would have absolutely crushed it here. It's easy to screw up engagements in StarCraft 2. It happens 1,000 times, but they're the best opportunities to learn from. So, other than that, what else? In the late game, you've got shield batteries at the front of your bases. This is awesome. You've got 1 shield battery at your wall, which is very nice. But let's go back to the start and let's review a few other things here, so we can kind of have this theory nice and tight in our brain. In this game, you did go for an Oracle, but he still could have Zergling dropped you, say from here into your main.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
This is why right around 4 minutes, I just always build a shield battery in my main mineral line. So right around this point, 75 minerals, costs nothing. Just build it right up against the Nexus, so you don't accidentally like put it next to a mineral patch and then block a probe in or something silly. That actually can happen. It's really...
You're talking about, you want it in the line, like right here in the line?
Yeah,
or...
just directly north of the Nexus, right up against it, right in the center of that mineral line. Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's going to cover the entire mineral line. He runs in there with Zerglings. As long as it's a maximum of about 10 lings, you just box your probes, A-move them. They will beat the Zerglings because of the shield regen. You might lose 2 or 3 probes, but you know, acceptable losses. Exactly. So that shield battery is amazing. I had one game versus I think it was like Canning like last week, and he was like, "Yeah, shield battery is so powerful. Like this is easy." And he didn't even react. He just had one adept in the mineral line. And he was relying on that to clean it up. But because he didn't pull the probes to fight, I had all 8 Zerglings focusing a single probe while it was mining, which meant all 8 Zerglings were attacking at once. And Zergling damage output is insane. So the shields on the shield battery ran out in like 6 seconds or less. And then I was actually killing probes. And I was like, and he was like, "Oh man, I thought it was so broken I could just do that." And I was like, yeah, I think if you just A-move the probes, you destroy every Zergling and don't lose anything there. But if you just sit there and ignore it, that's the only way the shield battery doesn't defend that. So it's, yeah, it's good. All right, so I think this is a good opening, by the way. I don't know if if you're opening Oracles into Glaive Adepts every game, that's actually like a really solid way to play. You can do this sort of pressure that you were doing every game. And can you always just do the Adepts go into the main, Oracles kill the natural? No. Why? No. Because normally they're going to have Spore Crawlers, right? Yeah. So what's the alternative? Often they've only got Queens and Zerglings at the sort of time where you're hitting. Fight where the Spores aren't. And the whole point of the Oracles is you turn on their laser beams and you hold position them so that they just kill Zerglings. Because if you don't hold position, they'll attack the Queens, because the Queens are the unit that threatens them, right? So it has a higher aggro rating, which makes the Oracle go and attack it, right? Which is bad, because they don't do nearly as much damage, whereas they zap Zerglings so fast. So a prime position would be the ramp between the main and natural. If your Adepts shade there, for instance, your Oracles can go over top. If the Zerglings float on top of them, you can just hold position the Oracles with their lasers on, kill the Zerglings, and then your Adepts, move into a mineral line and start killing everything else. Because Queens deal with Oracles, but Oracles deal with Zerglings. Queens can't really deal with Adepts very well, and Adepts wreck everything. So if your Oracles can just get rid of the Zergling Overwhelm, then usually you're in a good spot. And this is a really, really good timed out build. So I would say stick with what you're doing here. You do build Double Forge, which is fine if you like doing that. If you were normally to go into Stalkers and Sentries afterwards, so right here, basically as your Adepts are about to enter your opponent's base, you would always be warping in a bunch of Sentries at your third. You'd be starting Blink, going for your upgrades, and starting Immortal production, right? And you'd just be going into Immortal Blink and then adding on either Colossi or Psystorm based on your preference. Sound like a good plan?
That sounds like a much better plan than I've ever had. So, yes.
And your aim is to kill him, right? When you get your splash damage. So you're going to be like 160 supply plus, Blink Stalkers, Immortals, Psystorm. We'll just say Psystorm for now since you're used to using that. And it's still really good. People are just having fun testing out Colossi because they do more versus light units now, even though they're a little bit worse versus units like Roaches. Yeah, you get the Storm, and then you always have a Warp Prism ready when you push out because you've been envisioning your push out timing minutes ahead of time and you've planned for it. You set up your Warp Prism, you warp in a ton of units, and you say, you know what? He's on a shitty tier army. I can just A-move and focus on my High Templar. And you'll really simplify your game plan down to like this one attack, and sometimes you'll commit into a terrible position, take a bad fight. You'll watch a replay, you'll figure out I could have attacked somewhere else. Other times you'll say, he had twice as many units as me. What the hell happened here? You'll go back and say, well, you know what? I shaded my Adepts into Banelings, and I ran my Oracles into Queens and Spore Crawlers. He got 20 drones ahead of me because of that, and I died. So you're going to start to make these adjustments, but because you've got this much simpler game plan, you're still going to encounter thousands of different scenarios, but it's all off the way. It's the same sort of consistent plan from you. You can start to really kind of get those reactions going a lot tighter. So what I'd like to do here is we have like 3 minutes left. So we don't have a lot of time. I think we've talked about a lot of good stuff. Let me write down a few more notes here. If anyone wants to play a very quick game, if we have a Diamond 3, you're Diamond 3 at the moment still, yeah? I think
yeah, Plat 1, Diamond 3.
Plat 1, Diamond 3, somewhere around there. All right, so anyone who's Plat 1, Diamond 3, around that level, if we have a Zerg player, hop in chat channel ping right now, we can just play a very quick early game, just to kind of, you know, up to about the 6 or 7 minute mark, just to give Rain a little bit of practice with this. We'll go slightly overtime with this because I think we're having a good session. But we'd like to actually get some hands-on practice to finish off the session. Please hop in a chat channel ping on the North American server, anyone who can help us, and we will do that. If you can make me the lobby host, the party host, sorry, I will host up.
Bang, bang.
Bang, bang. All right. We go. I don't need to do create with mod anymore. That's nice, since it's the current balance.
Yeah.
I'm so used to doing create with mod every time I create a custom map for the last few weeks.
For sure.
Okay, so while we hopefully get someone in the next few minutes, I'm going to write a few more notes. So, okay, cool. What about, so we want to do shield battery in the main at 4 minutes. Immediate shield batteries at the 3rd. And natural wall in after you move out. If you're ever getting all in, remember, the answer is simply to wall in completely and build as many shield batteries as possible and you will never die. I have done some all-ins as Zerg, and I can tell you the only reason they ever work is because the player doesn't make any enough shield batteries. They make one or none. But the amazing holds you can make, like probes turn into an amazing fighting unit when you've got shield batteries there. Like you got 3 shield batteries and 20 probes versus like 10 roaches. The probes are gonna win, man. They're gonna mince those roaches. It's actually insane.
That's crazy.
It's got to appreciate that power. Oh, I just invited to party, not game.
That's something I've never been good at, is pulling workers and knowing when to go and when to. I mean, as far as defending, like when to pull probes, when not to. I've never done that before, so
that's something where it takes a lot of experience and stuff. I think that it's one of those things you learn from watching replays more than anything. In the heat of the moment, it's hard to identify, but just think about, you know, oh, I just died. That last game, it's a perfect example. If you're Colossi, maybe had those probes pulled in front of them, maybe you could have just, you know, barely tanked enough damage to take down the Hydras and then, you know, clean it up.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Against all-in attacks, you know, whenever you die to an all-in, remember, you always have a window to lose a crazy amount of workers and still be ahead. You know, if someone's like doing a crazy hard all-in, it's just like, what? So anyway.
And Chrono Boost can help too, because I can get probes back so much faster now.
Exactly. Actually, yeah, your recovery is insane. Like, if you've got 3 Nexi, your Chrono Boost is, you just have so much of it. So, I'm just going to give Midnight Sun here a little bit of advice, which is, no, actually I won't. He says he hasn't played in 3 weeks, which is fine. So just do your opening. Let's get used to this opening. So let's just make this your standard. So standard expansion into Oracle, into Glaive Adepts, and then you're going to swap into Blinkstalker, Sentry, Immortal, and add Storm on top of that afterwards. Good way to play. I will be writing notes here. I might poke my head in once in a while and say, you forgot to do this, do it. Or something like that. But otherwise, I'm just going to shut up and I'm going to pay a bit more attention to watching you play. And as I watch you live, hopefully I pick up 1 or 2 other little notes. We won't have time to review this game, so we're going to have to cut it off at about 6 or 7 minutes, which is fine. Because like I said, we're already going to be going overtime. So I'll pause at that point. If the game's interesting, I'll just be like, pause. I'll be like, hey, man. Good practice session. I'll let you continue this and I'll see you next time, kind of thing. For now, I'll just shut up. I'll let you get in your groove. Good luck, have fun, my friend.
Thank you, Pig.
Okay, all right. You can't hear me, can you, buddy? No, he cannot. Awesome. Okay, game versus Midnight Sun. Here we go. So, I'm also going to write new game plan. 2 Oracle, Glaive Adepts, about a 5-minute third. add blink and warp in sentries, then stalkers. Let's just say 4 sentries. I think that's enough. 4 sentries, then stalkers. Immortal production, upgrades, and add storm. Aim to kill with a 150 supply, 150 plus supply. Blink, sentry, immortal, storm push. Have a prism with the push. Focus on keeping High Templar safe and storming effectively. Main army, just make sure it's positioned not terribly. Pre-storm, main focus is on good force fields and guardian shields. Hey. So guys, we already got a helper. We won't need anyone else, but thank you everyone else who popped on. It was just slightly too late to the punch. Appreciate it. Much love, guys. Thank you very much. So we're going to be finishing up this coaching session in just a minute, guys. I'm already actually going to change my stream title right now while we're watching everything. So you should be going warp gate research as well. Don't forget warp gate research. You're doing well there. Oh, that's a purposeful delay. Ah, no worries. He's a fast Stargate man. All right. Good stuff. Alright. Here we go, guys. So yeah, we're going to be hopping into just regular ladder after this. I know this is not very interactive with the coaching because we've really been having a lot of back and forth discussion. I haven't been doing as much. Just want to say hello to everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Haven't really had a chance to say hi to you guys just yet as we start off right with coaching. Hostalis says, what are your favorite players on each race? I really like... I think, I think Showtime is actually one of my favorite Protoss players, and I think he's going to come back and show us what he's made of next year, because he had the balls to, like, redo his mechanics, and that's a really scary change to make, but I think that's going to pay off big in the long term. So I think Showtime and stats for his consistency and finally actually closing out a few championships has been really cool as well. So both those guys is just, like, strong macro Protoss I really like. I'm choosing multiple players for each race, and Hero as the aggressive Psycho Protoss. Hero definitely replaced those guys in recent times as my favorite Protoss because his absolute flair for play is just incredible. And I actually think in the current patch, Hero will be like unbeatable. Once he adjusts to this patch, I think Hero's style is so good with the new Chrono Boost and Shield batteries. Like, he will wreck it. For Zerg, Dark, his ability to make comebacks is unparalleled. There is no player that can bounce back from being way down and way behind like Dark. Dark is an absolute god. Voldemort in the early days. I used to love Voldemort, of course, before he, threw matches. Kind of hurt a little bit that he did throw those matches. That was worth it. 5 kills, that's fine. For Terran, I mean, beyond for flashiness, TY for showing that Terran can be the most godlike macro race at the top level. He's pretty much the only Terran who can play late game the way he can, and that in itself is just, it's incredible. It's awesome. I love it. So hats off to him for being a baller. I'm almost Diamond 2. My macro is leagues behind both the Protoss and the Zerg, says Ipichu. I mean, that's it though. You're probably a lot better at micro and engagements than these guys. Dude, there's GM players who basically just have really bad macro. That's okay. That's something I see on a regular basis, like all the time. And I'm always like, oh my god, this guy's so bad. He has no workers. And then I lose to them, and I'm like, all right, well, this was pretty clever how he did this little Baneling flank here. He did this sick little run by, and he dropped me at the same. Okay, I see why this guy's in Grandmaster. Like, he's actually really good at the tactics and the aggression and the micro. Okay, so I mean, that's the great thing about StarCraft. You can get to a really high level, excelling in one area and being not quite as insane in another. Not the best micro from the Adepts, but if he can get out of there and regen his shields, it's fine. Yeah. He's forced the drones out of there. Didn't finish the queen, unfortunately. Changed targets a little bit. So he only went 1 oracle this game. Right? Or did he lose the second one? I wasn't paying attention. I think he did. So this is cool. Very safe adept play from him. You're doing really good. Just, you know, you can just focus now on warping in a few more adepts at your third for safety. And then you can just, you know, blink, double upgrades. Let's make sentries and stalkers. And chrono boost out immortals. Gotta get that robo down.
Oh, yeah, I forgot the robo. I'm trying to think of so many things.
That's fine.
Man.
Just drop that robo. And you should be fine.
Awesome.
So get blink, double upgrades in the main base. Alright, you've got plenty of sentries. That's as many as you need for. So it's just going to be non-stop warping in stalkers from now. And you've got to just put guys on gas on your third, make stalkers non-stop, and you're kind of getting ready for that next stage of the game. So since you're Robotech's late this game, we're going to go for a faster Storm. We're going to drop a nice fast Templar Archives. And we're going to start that Storm tech as well. But once your Robo's out, build just 1 or 2 Immortals, make a Warp Prism, and good stuff, man. Keep it up.
God, I love this game.
I love it. Hey, SSJ, SC2, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub. Thank you very much, mate. Avid user says thoughts on the switches for StarCraft 2? Sorry, can you retype that? 2 pre-switches? What do you mean 2 pre? I think you just mean the new changes, the new balance changes. I think they're awesome. Terran's a little bit weak in PvP right now. That needs to be adjusted, and I'm sure it will be. But other than that, I think it's pretty good. Terran overall might need a few little bonuses to get a little bit better, but we'll see how it goes. So if you want to see the balance changes, you can just type. I'll do it for you. There you go. All the big recent changes are in that that blog, and we see the most recent adjustments to it talked about in the video, linked in that post in chat as well. So check that out. Oh.
Game paused.
All right, man. I do have to run, but you're doing really quite well. You know, I like that you got your shield batteries down on time this game. There's a lot of different things you're trying to add into your play, and you're playing a different style to what you used to. So you're still developing it here, but you're doing well. You know, you've got the Warp Prism on the way, you've got Storm on the way, so obviously you want to make High Templar well ahead of when Storm finishes, get some energy going on them, and then you want to do this one big, really decisive push where it's all just about, you know, force fields to zone out the enemy army if possible, but most of all, just A-move the main army. You're not doing any fancy micro, and then it's just Storm and force fields. That's all you're doing. Storm being the most important. So I want you to try and finish off Quixotic here, aka Midnight Sun, with that. We've got some notes written down in your kind of document. I wrote down a new game plan. I didn't really critique your execution here because I think a lot of it's just adjusting as you go. You know, getting the build down slightly better. It was already pretty good though. So yeah, read through the notes, watch the replays, grind out this new build order with a better game plan, and get used to those new shield batteries. Get used to being a bit more decisive with your engagements once you push. Your macro is looking really good since our first session. You've added on the new macro, right? You're adding your gateways at pretty good timings. Keep remembering to do that. Keep refining when you're meant to add these structures. The clearer you are with that, the better you're going to play. Now, if we can take it to saying, okay, at X point in the game, you want to try to kill your opponent. You want to get over there and try to knock him out. Put all your focus on microing that push and work on that micro. That's what you're working on developing right now. So we've got the macro down. Once we get to 150 plus supply, we've got all the tech out. We go, we push our opponent, we try to kill them, and that really simplifies our game plan.
Man. Oh, Pig, thank you.
Awesome.
Awesome.
I've got to run. Good luck, have fun, guys. Finish this game and maybe play another.
Heard that. I wish. I gotta go to work, my man.
Oh, okay. No worries, man. Well, good luck, have fun, and catch you later, brother.
Awesome.
All
Thank
right,
you, Pig. Appreciate it.
Hit me up if you want to set up another one.
Will do.
No worries. Later, man.
Later.
Okay.